Howdy ho! Andrew here. Welcome to the Onion Buns, and welcome to another edition of Let's Talk. So this week, I want to talk about something that drives me absolutely freaking crazy. Drivers. Like, I swear to God, they're getting stupider. They really are. When I did in 1997, 97 or 98, I did a huge cross-country or cross North America trip. I went from Edmonton to Denver, then across the states to Lima, Ohio, then down to Washington, D.C., then up to Gettysburg, then over to Plymouth Rock, then up to Salem, Massachusetts, then back up to Toronto. I came down to Chicago, through Detroit to Chicago, and then back through Minnesota and through the Dakotas and back up into Alberta. Huge trip. I saw Denver rush hour. I saw New York rush hour. Like, I drove through New York and Boston. I didn't stop, so I didn't count them as destinations, but I drove through them. I drove obviously into Salem, Massachusetts. I drove in Chicago. I drove in Detroit. None of them compared to how bad of drivers Toronto drivers are. So I had always said the worst drivers I had ever seen in my life were Toronto drivers, GTA. My neighbor in Barrie, when I lived in Barrie, Ontario, he used to be, he was a retired long haul trucker. And he swore up and down that the worst drivers he ever encountered were Quebec. Now, I never drove through Quebec. I never had any desire to go into that hornet's nest of, you don't speak Quebecese. Yeah, just no desire. So I never went there. But he had to because it was his job. And he swore up and down that they were the worst drivers. And I'll take his word for it because, he did it for a living. I just did a North American road trip, 2.5-week road trip. But I stood firm and fast. For my experience, Toronto and the GTA were the worst drivers. They were speed demons. They tailgated. They were idiots. Buddy of mine, he used to come, when I lived in Barrie, he came down from Edmonton for his job, and it was car dealerships that he had to check out the network systems in the car dealerships out in Toronto and the GTA. So he would come down and I'd pick him up and we'd go for lunch or dinner or whatever. And I'm driving him back from Barrie one day to his hotel, and it's a Sunday night. So it's bumper to bumper traffic because in the summertime, it's just sheer bumper to bumper traffic of all the cottage country going back to Toronto. So we're stuck on the 400 and Rick, he looks over him and goes, all the stories you told me, I thought it would be a lot worse, the drivers. And I just smiled. I looked at him and said, wait for it. No sooner than maybe 10 minutes later, some idiot. Now, the 400 is a 8-lane divided highway. So 4 lanes going into Toronto and 4 lanes coming out of Toronto. And then you got the shoulders. Well, this idiot, he doesn't want to be in bumper to bumper, so he gets onto the shoulder and he floors it. He must have been doing 120, 130 kilometers an hour down the shoulder. And he just comes whipping past everybody. And I look at Rick, he goes, okay, I get it now. And I go, no, that's not it. Just watch. And sure enough, about 10, 15 minutes down the road, because we weren't moving very quickly. It was bumper to bumper. And about 10, 15 minutes down the road, sure enough, there's the idiot that was on the shoulder upside down in the ditch. You go, now you've seen Toronto drivers. He just laughed. It's unbelievable. So I moved back to Alberta. And one of the things I was thrilled to move back to Alberta about is I get the hell away from Toronto and the GTA drivers. Because I left in late 98 and Alberta drivers were pretty good. They really were. You had your idiots that hated photo radar because they somehow have it in their head that they are allowed to speed regardless, which is, it's sheer stupidity. Just do the speed limit and there's no problem, but whatever. I've never felt any pity for the people that got dinged by the photo radars because all they had to do was set their cruise control and do the speed limit. That's all you ever had to do to avoid a photo radar ticket. So anyway, I was quite thrilled moving back to Alberta because I'm away from the GTA and the Toronto drivers. And I was just so fed up with them. But the last 8 years, I'm just left scratching my head out here. I really am. It's like, it's minus 40. The roads are icy. and everybody wants to speed. The speed limit's 100 and they want to do 120 and 130. They're tailgating. They are accidents waiting to happen. I don't even want to drive on the Anthony Henday in the winter anymore because they're freaking morons. They are accidents waiting to happen. And sure enough, there's a ton of accidents on the Henday, and it's all stupidity based. You know, they all blame the weather, but it's stupidity. Slow the bleep down. Drive to the road condition. It's that simple. But no, it gets worse. So now we're into the spring, summer. The roads are dry. They're beautiful. You know, speed limit's 100. Everyone's doing 70 kilometers an hour. I kid you not. It's like, so you want to speed when the road conditions suck and there's no way you're going to be able to stop in time if you have to brake fast because of icy roads. But when the roads are dry and in pristine condition, you want to do 30 kilometers an hour under the speed limit. I don't understand it. I really don't. Like, how freaking stupid are you? I really want somebody to answer me this because I don't get it. Common sense says drive to the road condition. When the roads are icy, slow down. Put more space between you and the car in front of you. Drive defensively. When the roads are dry and pristine, do the speed limit. Don't be aggressive. Don't tailgate. Like, tailgating's one of the stupidest thing anyone can do, but there's a lot of stupid people out there. Just drive to the road condition. It's really not that hard, people. Which brings me up to my next complaint. Here's a picture. Okay, for those that don't know what that is your signal indicator. Every vehicle has one. No, it's not for decoration. It actually has a purpose. The concept is when you know you're going to be turning, you put your signal indicator on. You let the people behind you know. You let the people coming ahead of you know what your intentions are. You don't change lanes and then put the signal indicator on when you're halfway or 3/4 way into your new lane. You don't change lanes and just forget you even have one. You put your signal indicator on, give it a few seconds, and you turn. It's not rocket science. It baffles me. This used to be a fail or pass moment in the driver's education when I was 16 years old. If you did not use your signal indicator properly, you failed instantly. I don't think that's the case anymore because way too many people seem to think it's just for decoration and they don't need to use it at all. Like, come on. Put your signal indicator on, give it 5 seconds. 5 seconds, that's it. And then start to change lanes. You know, shoulder check. Don't just go into a lane if you're merging. Shoulder check. Make sure you got the space. I don't get drivers nowadays. I know there's a lot of people that want to turn this into a racial issue or an age issue. And yeah, at a certain age, people probably shouldn't be driving anymore. I think overall, it's got nothing to do with race or age for the most part. It's just stupidity. We just got a whole bunch of stupid people on the road. They don't understand anything. They think they own the road and it's zoom, 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 unless it's good road conditions and it's sputter, sputter, sputter. Yeah, I don't get it. What do you think? You tell me in the comments. I could rant on this for hours. It's one of my biggest pet peeves. So anyway, that's my video for today. If you like the video, leave a like, a subscribe, and a share. I'm trying to grow my channel, and a like, a subscribe, and a share does me wonders, and I do appreciate it. Don't ever think I don't. If you don't like the video, well, first learn what your signal indicator is, and then you can leave a dislike on the video. As always, please feel free to leave a comment. I want to hear people's comments on this topic. I really do. And as always, pew, 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 and shit. Thanks for watching. Bye.